Well, hello everyone. Welcome along to Giants Stadium on this less than beautiful Saturday morning. It's a trial game between the Sydney Swans and the GWS Giants. And I am Russell Barr. We're going to help you through the next couple of hours. We've got 6 quarters of football. We'll probably only show you the first 4 quarters of football. Tom Harley, the CEO of the Sydney Swans, is with me at the moment to talk up the Sydney Swans. Tell us a little bit about the new players. As you can see them all milling around, we're about to get underway. The umpire's in the middle. Morning, Tom.
G'day, Russ. It's great to be here. I was out on the park just before the bounce of the ball, and nice to be out on an oval again and to be watching live footy. So really excited to be able to, in effect, kick-start our season against opposition. Clearly all clubs have had to navigate the COVID situation, and we're playing in the AAMI series against the Giants again next Sunday. So looking forward to today. Lots of new faces for both sides, and we've had a strong pre-season. I think the Giants have been the same, so we should have a really productive hit-out today.
Tom Hickey at the moment about to start things off. He's heading to the scoreboard end, of which we don't actually have on, but we'll certainly keep you up to date. And the Giants heading to the ANZ Stadium end as we're underway, and the 2 new ruckmen in Hickey and also Flynn get amongst it nice and early, and the ball goes to ground. You'd expect a bit of sloppy play as Mills gets the first clearance, goes towards half forward. Heaney takes a nice clean mark. Heaney, off the back of some surgery, drives it long in the Hayward direction. Reed's there as well. Taylor for the Giants, and Papley tries to keep it in. We'll have a boundary throw in close to the posts. Sydney Swans end of the ground. The new rules, there's only a couple of them, Tom, but it's going to be interesting to see how the man on the mark rule is applied. The umpires have been told to be pretty strict early, so the players are quite used to it. As we see Ward get dumped in a tackle, ball spews out off the deck. Nice Hayward, but it didn't really go too far. It just was marked in defence there by the Giants, and they can clear this now through Kelly, who I understand has been absolutely dynamic in the pre-season. We'll get more from Dave Matthews after quarter time, and also Jimmy Bartell from the Giants board will join us, a premiership player that you played with, of course, Tom, as the Giants try to work this out of their defence through Ash. Handball goes over the top towards the boundary line, and is that off feet? No, it's not, and we'll have a boundary throw in.
There's a nice willing start from both the teams. From a Swans point of view, a few positional changes. You'll note Callum Mills has spent most of the pre-season through the middle of the ground. He got the first clearance. So looking forward to seeing how he progresses his career at the start of the season.
And there's a lovely tap there from Hickey down to Heaney. Goes through to Blakey. Blakey spots up Reed, who should have opened his gob and swallowed that, but that didn't quite happen. In the end, now it's a chance for Cornelio off the right boot to clear for the Giants. Green was good in the air. Comes to ground. Florent, diving mark. Not paid there from Parker, which looked to be okay, as first shot on goal comes from Josh Kennedy, goes wide of all the targets. It's out on the full. A couple of the new guys that we're going to look out for, of course, Tom, you've had plenty of chances to see them. We'll see a lot of the absolute rookies and draft picks later on this morning, but there's 2 or 3 new guys there that in the warm-up that just looked absolutely outstanding. And there's a good mark from Tom Hickey as well. Hickey with a short pass, and this is one of the boys that we're talking about in McDonald. Spills to ground. Florent first there, goes back through Kelly for the Giants, bumped off it by Heaney, and they'll probably see this over the line. So that's the key one we're looking at. Logan McDonald picked up as the first draft pick, 4th on the draft list, kicked 21 goals for Perth in the Waffle, stands at 196. He's an imposing young boy, that's for sure.
Looking forward to seeing Logan play. As you say, Russ come over from Perth, played a lot of senior footy last year at the Waffle. We've got a free kick here. Is it going to
Callum Mills?
Or Sam Reid, it might be,
Reid, yeah,
in the ruck contest. No, but Logan, number 6, he's going to wear for the Swans, hopefully for the next 12, 13, 14, 15 years. But he's settled in really well. He's had a year out of school. He's studying commerce over in Perth, and looking forward to big things from him.
Well, this is Sam Reid's Achilles heel. When he's on, and when he misses big time, as he's just done there. But then again, it's only a trial. Nobody's getting paid for this one in terms of points on the board. But it'll be interesting. I note a couple of other young players that maybe had a couple of shots at it last year, which was a great year. The last couple of years have been great for the Swans and for the Giants to sort of blood in the odd player. Young Matthew Ling's one of them, and as the ball goes towards him, and in the end comes off the hands of Lloyd. Back to Mills, who's seeing plenty of it nice and early. Spots up Kennedy, who just waited. Ward swooped on it like a seagull on a chip. Gave it off. Hopper does well. Finds a target. That target there was Parker. I beg your pardon, not Parker. Riccardi. He was good last year in his few games that we saw. And now it's with Hopper off the boot of Green outside 50. So Riccardi was a real good find for the GWS Giants, goal kicking forward. Got a huge hoof on him as Hopper just sets it up. Top of the square, players fly. Off the deck, there was a chance there for the Giants. And that might have been through to Ball, but didn't quite get his boot to Ball. Keefe's in there as well. Now it comes out through Himmelberg, I should say, to Heaney. Heaney offloads it. And again, Kennedy can clear, but the kick is not ideal. Good pick up there, Hayward, far side of the ground. He's tackled without it. Umpire lets it go. Back inside 50 for the Giants, off the hands and the fist of Robbie Fox. And we'll have a boundary throw in this time at the Giants' end of the ground. Still only the one behind. 5 minutes gone the opening term. The term's 30 minutes. I don't think we're having any time on. It's just a straight 30-minute clock, first and second quarter, and then 25 the third and fourth quarter. That's how you see it, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it is. It's at this stage, this time of year, try to get as much conditioning as you can into the players, and a straight 30 is about right. It's obviously up from what the players had to acclimatise to last year, the shorter quarters, but they'll be blowing by quarter time, Russ, that's for sure.
How enthusiastic, obviously it's a Saturday morning, it's a bit drizzly, but obviously it's the first game that you're playing here in Sydney. Is that the enthusiasm that you could sense when you were downstairs?
No doubt, Russ. And the thing that you often forget when you've been around footy clubs for a long time, this is the first opportunity that Logan McDonald's got to play against seasoned AFL players. I look down at the bench, Braden Campbell, our number 5 draft pick, he's about to come on as well, Errol Goulden as well. So they'll be nervous, and you can sense that nervous energy. And a few of the players who are coming back from I guess, injury-interrupted pre-seasons, that they want to get through the game. So, and then there's the natural tension for spots. The season's only 3 weeks away now. So, no, it'll be a willing hit out, and certainly the atmosphere that I experienced down there was good. Everyone was up and about.
Well, I was having a look at Braden Campbell. He's got a silky left boot on him, and that's for sure. I mean, if you've got some space and he's got a little bit of time in his hand, you can expect it to be delivered pretty nicely out in front of you. He's a very skillful young player, and a lot of excitement because both he and one of your other draft picks, Errol Goulden, both local products, which is always good.
Yeah, they came through the QBE Sydney Swans Academy. They started as 11-year-olds. They're best mates. So great that they could get drafted together on draft night.
Meanwhile, all this was happening. There was a few boundary throw-ins, not a lot of action in terms of clean possessions as Kennedy clears it for the Swans. Haywood needs some support, has that. And that's come the way of Sam Wicks, another one of these young players we'll see a little bit more of this year. Bell gets involved. Tackled without the ball. No, the umpire's paid a throw. Yeah. So Bell offloads. Mills again getting plenty of the ball, that's for sure. Now he finds a target going forward. And McDonald, though, 2-on-1 there. Probably not the right choice, but young bloke making himself available. And you'd be also interested in some of the Giants players, of course. Tom, you've seen plenty of them. And there's a few young boys. Connor Iden's one of those in defence there, as they've got a couple of, I think young Jack Buckley's about to come on, son of.
Yep. Good opportunity for a number of the Giants too. They've been a really successful footy team the last couple of years. Obviously last year missing the finals, but a lot of injuries throughout the year. But a player like Connor Iden, he gets a chance with Phil Davis not playing today. And as I said, it's really important for those players who haven't played a lot of senior footy to take their opportunities. And I've seen over the journey, I've seen many careers started in these sorts of games where a younger player in his second or third pre-season, he builds up his foundations, then he does a job in the first competitive hit out, then all of a sudden he's on his way in his career. So both sides are full of players with those opportunities presenting this morning.
And it's another one, son of, a bit later on, that I'm very excited to see, because I think that the change of scenery will do him the world of good. I'm talking of Ben Silvani, who was a late pick-up through the revamped seconds, for want of a better term, competition, and now he finds himself at the Swans. I'm I know Steve, and I know his uncle, funnily enough, up here in Sydney, and we know him both. And I think the change of scenery for someone with a name like Silvani will be crucial. Probably the same for young Buckley as well.
Yeah, so Ben's played on Carlton's list for the past couple of seasons, and he saw an opportunity through our VFL program. And I think you're right, Russ, just a chance to get out of Melbourne and play his VFL footy up in Sydney. Paddy McCartan's another one who's done the same thing. He's obviously had some concussion issues. He won't be playing today, but same motivation to join the Swans. So I think that the really pleasing thing about footy in Sydney is that there are more opportunities for local kids through both academies, and then also with VFL programs to attract other players to the market.
I just saw, now this will be interesting, a man on the mark, and he's dead set standing, not moving an inch, is Josh Kennedy. The rule is that you are allowed a little area of grace, which we could pretty much say is 1 metre. You can go back and forth, but you cannot go laterally, as the new rule is, and you can see it again in action here with Parker on the... Now that's a play on call, so there's no issue there. How have the players adjusted to that new rule?
Yeah, it has taken some time. The instinct, obviously, is to protect the corridor. So you move laterally on the man on the mark, and the reality is that's what the rule's designed to do. It's to make that corridor kick more appealing and more attractive. And I think the other thing you'll see, Russell, is handball receives from players running past the ball carriers, particularly through half back. So I think it's going to have the desired effect in terms of opening the game up. But the players will need to adjust. The umpire, as I understand it, calls stand or hold. Daniel Lloyd's doing that now. He cannot move, and as you can see, he can open up the middle part of the ground.
He can jump up and down.
He can, as long as he. I'm not. That's. I should know the answer to that. Can he jump? Probably not.
So this is the one that, as a spectator, when they're shooting for goal, and we'll see it obviously later on. Can he jump up and down?
Yeah.
He can go back and forth. I'm looking at one of the journos, and the hands are up as well. So. We'll wait and see. The first person that does it wrong. We're not calling it the Dane Rampy rule.
Well, Ramps is coming in. So
yeah, no, for fear of him actually refusing to come in if he gets wind of that.
So I think Ramps is with you, Russ, in the third quarter. We'll make sure that he's totally abreast of all the rules, as he should be as the club captain, and he'll be able to give you a blow-by-blow. Yeah,
interesting rule. I think it's... I'm trying to work it out. We have the under-15s. Can you imagine how hard it's going to be to police this at the junior level? But we'll wait and see whether it actually is one of those rules that gets sent down to the junior level. I suspect it won't in the initial stages until it's bedded into the AFL system.
I would think so. And it is, we've had lots of, whether they've been whole rule changes or interpretation changes, players are pretty good at picking them up. And if I'm honest, I think there's been a lot of commentary about it because it's different. But I actually think the fans will enjoy it. It does make it very difficult to defend because the game will be really fast and obviously a lot of ball movement through the middle of the ground. That'll be where the frustrations lie, I think. But I think the fans will actually come to really appreciate the rule.
So the player on the mark can only move once the play on call is made, or as soon as the player kicking the ball, as we see a chance for the opening goal of the game through Toby Green, and it hasn't happened, so it's a point apiece. So if you've just joined us, you've missed stuff all.
But it's a pretty willing sort of contest with both sides have missed some shots on goal. You hope that they actually nail when the season starts. You can tell it's a trial. There's a few nerves. It's a bit slippery as Flynn gets his boot. The ball pushes it just inside 50. At the foot of the pack, Braden Campbell, nice, just weaved his way through that little... Oh, that's a good mark too from Tom Hickey. A couple of new players for the Swans.
There you go. There's the 2 steps to the right, and he's very, very lucky was young Jack Buckley, because that to me was... Or 2 steps to the left as he was doing. That should have been your first 50 in the rules, but he got away with it as the ball goes back inside 50, and Robbie Fox tries something. Now it's it's an off-the-ball free kick. Matt Nichols has found one in the middle of the ground. Just got bored with not having much to do and decided to go 2 umpires away and blow the whistle.
Practice matches for the umps too, Russ?
They were very excited. I walked past them. They were talking to Leon Cameron. They were very excited.
I've got to say the AFL have done a really good job throughout the summer with making umpires available, and obviously the lion's share of the umpires are based in Melbourne, but they sent through Dan Richardson and Steve Hocking sent 10 umpires up into a Sydney bubble. The last week so the Swans and Giants can train and practice the new rules. So that's been certainly well received and appreciated by the two Sydney clubs.
How much do you hate the word hub and bubble?
They've become part of the vernacular. We're not technically in one at the moment.
No,
we've got some restrictions, and it would be fantastic if we could get through the season by just living to state-regulated health protocols as opposed to being in a lockdown bubble. So important everyone does the right thing.
Well, we might see the first goal here, because I was doing a little bit of stats research last night, and if I said to anyone, who is the most accurate kicker of goals in the AFL, would you think Daniel Lloyd would be the answer? No, you would not, but he is. Apparently
To me, that feels like an absolute miles. I reckon he's a Monty to miss this one, Russ.
100 to 1 he's going to miss. No, thanks for coming. Apparently last year he kicks the first goal, Daniel Lloyd, of the entire AFL season for the GWS Giants. So 117 to 1 behind. Yes, apparently last year kicked 7 zip from set shots.
He's been a fantastic story. He came recruited from Killarney Vale Way, Central Coast.
Part of the McVeigh team.
That's right.
That sort of area.
Yep, Spike McVeigh, who obviously an assistant coach at the Giants, and he did some work through the academy at the Swans as well. Identified him, and he's come into the game via a non-traditional pathway, but making an impact, and he's had a good career.
And a lot of people wouldn't know that stands about 4 sets of seats away from the scoreboard end is the Daniel Lloyd stand. Because when he first played his first game, every single one of his mates from Killarney Vale trekked down and they held a number 39 sign up there for days and days and days. 38, what am I saying? And there was about 100 of them in there, and it became the Daniel Lloyd stand.
There
Not a lot
you
of
go.
people know.
No, I was unaware of that.
You would have had to been here when the Giants might have been getting touched up a bit more than they were in the last couple of years to remember that, as Lloyd gets a loose handball. I did well with the tunnel ball to Heaney. Almost got away with it.
Isaac Heaney, obviously one of our elite players, and coming back from ankle surgery. He's played the last couple of weeks now in the intra-club arrangement and just really building his match fitness. His touch has been great, kicked 4 goals last week, and great to see him get amongst it early here too.
But as I was speaking to Loretta, the general manager of media for the Swans a bit earlier, I thought it was butt surgery, because I read an article, but they took some stem cells out of his butt to put in his ankle, correct?
Yeah, so stem cell surgery requires some fat cells to be taken from somewhere.
I got
and
tons of those.
Well, he doesn't, I don't think. And for those who are keen Instagram followers, we've actually started ensuring that our players wear their T-shirts at training. I think that's been a bit of hasn't been that well received by some of our fans, but Isaac in particular isn't afraid to go shirtless. But he had to build up his fat deposits, which apparently was a bit harder for him than probably you or I, Russ.
I could give him an hour's lesson on how to do that, and he wouldn't miss a beat. Ball goes to ground off the Sinclair attempted mark, comes the way of Rowbottom, screws it around inside 50 for the Swans. The Giants lead this by 6 points at the moment, and we've played 17.5 minutes, as you can see on screen there. And Callum Sinclair now in the middle. Tom Hickey is having a bit of a rest. He's done superbly well in his opening setup, and both he and Flynn having a bit of a rest, I would suspect, at the moment, as the ball comes away of Lloyd. Gets rid of it quickly, drives it inside the centre square area. At the back was Dawson. Paddled away there by Cornelio. Well done this time by Aish. No, Bruin it is. He gets his boot to ball, one of the new kids from the Giants. Pick 12. You remember his face when the draft went through. Poor fella. He got a bit of a shock that he got picked up by the Giants as they go inside 50, and that should be an easy mark, and it is. And probably, no, it's...
I think it was a shepherd off the ball.
Blocking one. awarded to the Giants' Taranto now, who's pushed a bit forward in the last sort of 5 minutes, having a round-the-corner shot at goal. And Tommy, also noticed there were some selection trials of the Swans AFLW in the Northern Territory. Is that what I read right?
The youth girls program, we had our first competitive hit out with our under 17 and 19 girls out here at Tom Wills, which is the training ground for the Giants, and that was terrific. The excitement of the young girls. These girls will be, I guess, the pipeline of the talent for our AFLW team, which we hope to get into the competition in the next couple of seasons. And they were excellent. They're playing down in Canberra today, again against the Giants, and then the Swans girls head off to Geelong the week after that to play their third game. And it's been a really great addition to our club, and we're looking forward to seeing how they go as they progress through the AFLW ranks.
There was a little bit of an example of what young Campbell can do when he gets the ball in hand. He just wheeled around and drilled a pass. It unfortunately wasn't marked, as Parker also drops one in the middle of the ground, in the middle of the inside 50 of the Giants. But yeah, I sense that he has fitted in very nicely into the system, young Braden Campbell.
Yeah, he's come through, as I said, he's come through the academy since he was 11, and he's a beautiful kick, left foot kick. He can really play anywhere. He's very quick and very powerful for an 18-year-old, and it's a good snap there by Riccardi.
Yes, a very good snap. So Jake Riccardi gets his first goal. The Giants get their second, 2-2-14. The Swans, after kicking the first behind, haven't been able to register a major, and we've still got around 10 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, so Braden, he'll be certainly pushing his claim for a round one start. If it's not round one, I suspect he'd play pretty early in the piece. And we do need to manage expectations on young players that come through, regardless of whether they're pick 1 or pick 50. But clearly a highly rated young player. We went into the draft with picks 3 and 4 that got pushed back to 4 and 5, and they were able to secure Logan McDonald with that first pick at 4, and the Hawks bid on Braden Campbell at pick 5, so we were forced to match that bid, but couldn't have been happier to pick him up at 5. And he's a lifelong Swans fan from the upper North Shore in Sydney, and he's played a bit of reserves footy with us the last 2 years, and looking forward to seeing him make his AFL debut imminently.
And where do you reckon that'll be? Sort of sooner rather than later?
I think probably. I mean, you don't want to, as I say, put too much pressure on these kids, but he's been playing with the defensive group off half-back. He's a beautiful ball user. Pulled out a free kick here. Is it Tommy Papley? So that's where he's been settling. So if he comes into the side, you'd expect it to be across half-back. And as I said, he's done a lot right in his first pre-season, but it is a big step up from academy footy to senior footy.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's opportune that Tom Papley has the ball. A lot of speculation as to where he was going towards the end of last year. So happy that he stayed put, because goal kicking was an issue for the team during the course of the year, as he kicks his first of the day and the Swans first as well. So 1-1-7, 2-2-14, midway towards the end of, midway through the opening quarter. And I mentioned that 26 goals last year. I think the next best was single digits for the side. So that's an issue, averaging just 60 points a game. You need some more. You need some more than that.
We had some injury concerns up front with obviously that Lance not playing a game, Isaac hurting his foot early on in the piece as well. So Tommy certainly carried that burden. Had a fantastic year, finished in the top 3 in the club championship. He's in the leadership group, fully invested, and I know our members are wrapped with Tommy. He's one of their favourites. In fact, I might give the membership a bit of a plug here, Russ, if I can. It's the best ticket, most assured way to get into the footy this year. That's one thing we do know, that members will be able to get access. We've got 75% capacity at the SCG, 75% up here in New South Wales across the board. So looking forward to that very first game against the Crows in round 2 at the SCG. But a great way to support your club. It's clearly all clubs, and we're not immune to that, have had some challenging financial times, and the members have stood by us, which has been phenomenal. And for those who haven't renewed, I'd really encourage you to do that, because footy's a great part of life, and we're certainly excited to get it kicked off in 2021.
And I'd extend that and even say do the both, because it's probably the only way you can watch a game every weekend live, and both venues are fantastic. Certainly here at Giant Stadium, not as full as it is at the SCG, but certainly parking sometimes is a little easier to cop, and getting in and out of the place with the trains going right to the door as we see Kennedy rolled over the boundary line. And just on the way you said the membership and the 75% capacity, so that is in terms, what is it, 48,000?
Yeah, so from a SCG perspective, that's 36,000.
That's not bad, is it?
Which is great. I mean, we
take
average
36,000 every day of the week.
We average about 32,000 a home game. We've got fantastic loyal support, obviously, up here in Sydney. So we would love, and it would be great to expect that sort of number when we play the Crows in our first game. So the sentiment from our membership base is that they're excited about football coming through. They're excited about the younger players that have been blooded the last couple of years, and they've been starved of any meaningful crowd content in Sydney for the best part of 12 months. So as I said, membership's your best way to get into the footy. So make sure, if you haven't renewed or you're thinking about signing up for the first time, jump online at sydneyswans.com.au and follow the prompts through to membership. We've got a raft of flexible options to cater for everyone.
Florent with an inside kick towards McDonald. Tackle at the back was...
It's Goulden.
Looked like Goulden, yes it was, in the 21. Do you get given the jumpers, or do you request? How does it work?
It's a bit of both. It's
got to that level where I needed to know.
It's a bit of both. Obviously, you have traded players come in, you have drafted players, and a bit of a pecking order. You have a few conversations if anyone desperately wants a number. Tommy Papley, for instance, changed to number 11 because his grandfather Max wore that after starting in 41. But Errol's in the number 21. He's an academy boy. His locker will be next to Nick Blakey, another academy boy, and made famous by Leo Barry, Russ. He was a pretty handy player.
He certainly was. Don't ever bring that up with Coxie, though. He refuses to listen to the conversation.
He kicked it to him, didn't he? Passed it.
Yeah,
he passed it to Leo.
Absolutely kicked it to him.
Yeah.
Lace out, as we always said. There's a decent old leap. Was that Hickey or McCartan? It was Hickey. Yeah. Got some serious airtime there on the far side of the ground as Lloyd. Handballs that unfortunately came off players. Buntine was there, and it's over the boundary line. 14 plays 7. 2-2-14, 1-1-7. And we're heading into the last stages of the opening term. If you wanted to ask Tom a question, Loretta is standing by the Twitter address, which is at Sydney Swans. So you can just send a question for Tom Harley or Jimmy Bartell, Dave Matthews, or even Dane Rampier across the call. We'll try and get to as many as possible at Sydney Swans. And also we've also got the Giants as well. Allison's at GWS Giants. Thanks, Allison. So the team is helping us out here to try and make this a little bit more different than normal. Obviously, the crowd noise and the way, the seriousness, as Keith takes a nice strong mark in defence for the Giants. And here we see the first 50 metre. And I am going to go on the same side as Sam Reid here. He did not grab. And it looks like Matt Nichols is saying, you move. Let's have a look at this on the Easy Charge replay. That's my company. I'm just giving myself a free plug there. You can't see it there on the close-up shot, unfortunately. But, yeah, Sam Reid looks like he was stuck in the mud. But umpire Matt Nichols did not agree. And so that's the first of the 50-metre free kicks that we'll see many of, I suspect, Tom.
And it's a significant penalty, isn't it? You see the ball go from one end to the other. And I think what you will see as fans, that Josh Kelly got the handball received as well. That's the other way to open up the game pretty quickly. So the players will adjust. They've got no choice. The rule's not going to change. I'm convinced of that. But history suggests that players tend to adjust pretty well.
Going back when we were younger, it was a 10-metre and then it became 15. Did it go 15 to 50, or was there a 30-metre?
No, there was, I reckon, I played my junior footy in Adelaide, and a 25-metre penalty was the go back then, but they are half an hour behind in South Australia, so they take a while to get things back.
Is there any benefit in trimming that up, like a 25-metre for a small infringement and the deliberate infringement, you know, the the holding the player, pushing him in the back, where you could argue that it's just time wasting as Blakey gets the give and receive and then sets it up for Reed. That kick, no, not going. Flynn's played well for the Giants. They'd be very happy with his start, although there's a bit of a turnover there, almost a high tackle on Heaney. Working through it, though, the Giants can clear here, and they do so. They go very wide. The target is Himmelberg. He's getting a lot of attention there from Matthew Ling. He's one of the young kids that had a couple of games last year and really needs just a bit of opportunities. He makes his way to the bench just to see where he sits in the system at the moment.
Yeah, he's a really good young fella, Matty Ling. He's our round one draft pick a couple of seasons ago now. This is his 4th year. He was picked number 14 and has just had some horror foot injuries with turf toe and some other foot-related issues. It's a toe injury that's got something to do with the turf. I don't know a lot more about it than that, to be honest, Russ. But no, in all seriousness, it's a debilitating injury, quite prevalent in the NFL. So it's basically when this will underplay it, but when you stub your toe and the ligaments of your big toe become inflamed, and Lingy's had to deal with that. So he's had an uninterrupted pre-season this year, which has been great. So everyone's got everything crossed that he can fulfil his potential.
Explain to me that one that just happened there, where it was a high tackle on James Bell and the ball was just picked up by Mills and he just kicked it and played on. I didn't think that was allowed. Because he was behind, he was okay? Or?
Yeah, so you can't play on from a mark. However, if it's any other free kick, as Tommy Papley's just missed to the left. I'll be honest, Russ, I was focused on Matty Ling when he was coming off the bench, but if the free kick was or Callum picked up the ball, he can play on. Yeah.
Okay. I just thought that because it was a stop, had to come back to the man who was awarded the free kick as the Giants clear from the Papley miss. Another high fly there was Dawson to Kennedy just off the side of the boot, but it might work out nicely. Heaney can take a mark, and he does so right on quarter time, and he'll go back and have a long kick. And game one, first kick. Are you saying just pull back on this one?
Stretch your hammies before you do this. I'm not sure I want to look at this.
Oh no, the umpires said no, we're just going to pull this one up, not even going to bother. Or
there you go.
Oh no, he's going to have a bit of a crack, and there's nobody on the mark, so that answers that question. He decides to unload just for the heck of it, and misses. Not sure if that's going to count, though. No. I'm fairly sure it won't.
No, that was a good hit out, Russ. I think it was pretty willing. The conditions for those of you who are at home watching it, we've had a bit of rain here this morning in Sydney. It's quite humid, as it can be at this time of year, and I think the players took a bit of time to adjust to the conditions, but both defences held up pretty well. We saw some good ball movement. Obviously, we saw the 150-metre penalty from Sam Reid, which is the new rule. The other one I think that'll open up the game a bit, Russ, is which they first implemented last year, was extending the kick out, the man on the mark who's defending they've rolled that out another 5.
Jake Lloyd rule.
The Jake Lloyd rule. He'll take every metre that he can. He's a beautiful user for us off half-back and takes a lot of our kick-ins. But yeah, we've had an early look at that. But
so essentially that will mean that out of defence, the ball is going to clear the 50-metre arc every single time, you would expect. You would think.
Well, there's certainly an opportunity to do that now. Some sides might take the short one because the zones will ultimately set up a bit further back than what they have previously. But these are rules that have clearly been implemented to I guess encourage more attacking ball movement from the half back, and it's all about, like all sports really, it's all about time and space, and try to create as much space as you can on the ground when you're trying to attack. So first look, it's been a good start. It's been willing. We've seen some good form from a Swans point of view. I thought Tom Hickey started the game well. He got his hands on the ball. Isaac's continued his form. Nick Blakey's playing through the middle of ground as Callum Mills is today, and Tom McCartan was the other, I guess, key positional change, playing back. Braden Campbell got a few touches off half-back. Errol Gilden got a few up front as well, and Logan McDonald's playing as a key forward. So plenty to look forward to from a Swans point of view, and looking forward to how many quarters we got left. We've got 5 to go, 5 quarters.
Yes, you've got 5, I've got 3. We're just going to play the for want of a better term, the senior squads, and then the rookies and the draftees, the the AFL New South Wales. What's that competition now being called?
It's the East Coast VFL competition.
East Coast VFL. A lot of those boys will be playing a little bit later on as well. So plenty to look forward to. Quarter time here. It is 2-3-15, 1-2-8. Tom, appreciate your time. Just give us a bit of a plug then again for those memberships. Remember, 75% of people allowed to go to the SCG. First game against Adelaide, so that's give or take 36,000 people. Plenty of atmosphere. There'll be tons of things happening at the ground, obviously, to welcome back members and fans who've been starved of footy for the last 6 months.
That's right. The last meaningful crowd was round 23, 2019. So membership's your best way to ensure you get access to the games. We've got plenty of options, a new flexi membership for this season to cater for every possible situations.
My dog's a member.
Excellent.
You know, because if you get a family of 5, they give you an extra one, and the dog's name is Buddy.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Buddy has his own membership card.
Excellent.
Doesn't go too many times.
We'll take it, but as you said, Russ, 75% capacity, which equates to 36,000. To ensure that you're there, we're expecting good demand for that. Make sure you do get your membership. Visit the website at sydneyswans.com.au, and as I said, we've got plenty of options to ensure that we can cater for everyone out there, and looking forward to welcoming everyone back to the SCG.
Couple of questions for you as your former teammate Jimmy Bartell strolls in. Errol Goulden, this is off the Twitter page to the Sydney Swans, so at Sydney Swans or at GWS Giants. There you go, everyone. You can send us a question. Errol Goulden looks good. Will he play round 1?
If he's playing today, he's in the mix. I think he's had a really good summer. He's a small forward initially, but will move into the middle of the ground. He kicks the ball extremely well. He accumulated all through his junior career, so hopefully he does. But if he doesn't, it'll be imminent. There's
a few injuries that to a couple of those small forwardy types that might just open the door. Also, are banners a thing of the past? At this stage, we don't know, although we're still waiting on the COVID restrictions. But
yeah, they were last year, Russ, and there are obviously extremely tight restrictions in and around the footy bubble, as you mentioned.
Who goes on the field?
Yeah,
really?
That's right. So we the reality is we'll be told whether we can have them or not. If it was up to us, I'm sure we would, because the cheer squads are such an important part of football clubs.
What about a virtual banner? So it goes on the big screen and you can see both sides, and then somehow some person who's way smarter than us works out that as the players can run through it.
There you go. That could work. I know that the AFL are looking at all creative ways to make sure that all the partners who have supported the competition, certainly partners for clubs, are extremely important. Have opportunities to showcase their brand, but when we can welcome back the banner and when we can welcome back cheer squads onto the ground, we absolutely will, because they're an integral part of the footy club.
Kick to kick's probably going to have to take a back seat for another 12 months.
I think so. It would at this stage that would be the case as well. So we are, in all seriousness, I don't want to sound sort of flippant about it, but we're still a bit day by day, week by week. We've got obviously the AAMI season, the AAMI series, which was initially two games, and this was going to be one of them, and this has obviously changed, and then we were due to play the Gold Coast Suns next week, which will now be the Giants. So it probably is a good indication and a good example of how flexible we still need to be. So the border restrictions in Perth are still in place, and they're pretty stringent. So we're planning as best as we can. We're planning for the season to go ahead as it's currently scripted, but at the same token, we need to be open to changing pretty quickly on the spot.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. As I think yesterday or the day before, there was just one case of COVID within the entire country, and that was in quarantine. So, and we look at so many of the sports overseas that are just not even getting a person at the game. So we are very, very privileged. Even New Zealand, who is seemingly A-OK, they've had a bubble that's reached double digits, and the whole place shuts down.
That's
so
right.
You've just got to be so careful.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, Russ. We are extremely fortunate to live where we are as a country, and certainly the communities within it. We've done a great job, and the better we keep going, making sure that we stay on top of this, the better outcomes we're going to get, certainly for live sport. So as I say, we're extremely fortunate and looking forward to having a crowd.